officers, men and women of the Ghana Armed Forces, the police service, and the other security services for their display of honor, pomp, and ceremony. And I thank them all for their willingness to put their lives on the line to secure the safety of our nation, the peace of our society, and the sanctity of our property. I'm sure it is not too late to extend warm congratulations to you, Monsieur le Président, and your country on staging a most successful AFCON and the dramatic exploits of your national team that ended in your winning the continental competition and being crowned African football champions. ASEC's victory over Kotoko is in the same direction. Congratulations to you, to Côte d'Ivoire, and to the elephants. As we all can see, this year has begun with the victory of the elephants. I'm afraid that over here in Ghana, this is a competition we much rather not remember or even talk about. But Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire are good neighbors, and we cannot begrudge your excellent performance and learn from the many lessons that AFCON 2023 has to teach. Welcome to Ghana, Monsieur le Président, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation and joining us for our independence anniversary celebrations. Ghana is your home. The relationship between our countries is as it should be, for we share a common boundary, a common history, and a common culture, including common languages, and as we would both say, Akwaba. We're greatly honored by your presence, and we pay homage to your distinguished leadership, preeminent in the annals of contemporary Africa, which has brought your country back from the chaos of a painful civil war and its aftermath, back to the stability and prosperity that have been traditionally associated with Côte d'Ivoire. The strong bonds of friendship and cooperation that have existed during our respective 10 years of office are evidenced by two key developments. First is the agreement for strategic partnership that was entered into by President Ouattara and I on 17th October 2017 during my first year at the presidency, which has paid off, especially in the cocoa sector, by enabling our two countries to coordinate our policies over cocoa, of which we are the world's biggest producers, accounting jointly for some 65% of global output. This has been of considerable benefit to our respective farmers, who have received the highest price per bag of cocoa in our respective histories. The other is the mature manner in which the maritime border dispute between our two countries was settled by the Maritime Court in Hamburg. The elevated stance of statesmanship shown by President Ouattara ensured that its result in Ghana's favor was peacefully accommodated by Côte d'Ivoire. Mr. President, we thank you very much. My dear compatriots, fellow Ghanaians, the theme chosen for this year's Independence Day celebrations is Our Democracy, Our Pride. And I welcome all of you to Koforidua, the capital of the Eastern region, which is hosting the celebrations this year. The decision to rotate the scene of the national celebrations around the country instead of staging them only in Accra, the nation's capital, has certainly turned out to be a welcome nation-building exercise that helps us to focus attention on a different region every year, and at the same time rallies the nation together in that region. Our host this year, the Eastern region, was very much at the center of the independence struggle of our country. It is home to 3 members of the Big Six of the United Gold Coast Convention, UGCC of blessed memory, the acknowledged founders of our nation, Joseph Boakai Dankwa, Edward Akufo-Addo, and William Ofori-Atta. Their love of politics would seem to have continued into succeeding generations, with the son of one of them being the current president of our country. The other members of the Big Six were Emmanuel Obecha Bilanti, Ebenezer Akwaje, and Kwame Nkrumah, who together with George Alfred Parr Grant, R.S. Blay, Kwabena Kessy, Francis Awona Williams, Nii Kwabena Boni, Boycott Hini, and others were the successors of the early generation of nationalists, such as the members of the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. Their membership included Jacob Say, George Moore, Joseph Casely Hayford, John Mensah Saba, W.E.G. Kwabena Sechi, J.W. DeGraff Johnson, J.P. Brown, and others who protected our lands from the grasp of the greedy imperialists and who initiated the first phase of our struggle for national independence. On such a day, we must also remember the contribution of Yaa Asantewaa, Thomas Hutton Mills, James Kwegyir Aggrey, Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo, Private Odate Lamptey, V.B. Annan, Jimmy Kwistasi, Mabel Dove, Akwaso Soso, Dede Ashikinshan, Komla Agbeli Gbedema, Kojo Botsio, Kofi Bako, Krobo Eduse, Nancy Tibo, Mumuni Bawumia, S.D. Dombo, Kofi Abrefa Busia, Joe Appiah, Victor Owusu, R.R. Ramponsan, Bafo Seyakoto, Modesto Apalu, S.G. Anto, Yakubu Tali, and Ephraim Amu, to the liberation of our country and to the birth of our democracy. The work of all these great patriots culminated in the immemorial words of our nation's first leader, Kwame Nkrumah, when he stated on the eve of 6 March 1957 that, at long last, the battle has ended. Ghana, your beloved country, is free, free forever. Today, the Eastern region is, of course, not the geographic east of Ghana, but it retains a nomenclature from the colonial days, when it was the eastern border of what was the Gold Coast colony. The region is the most heterogeneous in our country and a microcosm of Ghana, and home to the most diverse of peoples. Over the centuries, the region has attracted citizens from all parts of the country and beyond, who come to work and find a welcome and lasting home. The attraction is obviously the abundant mineral resources and the rich and fertile soils. It is, after all, only a few kilometers from here that the first cocoa farm in the country was planted in 1895, some 129 years ago. And from there, the planting of cocoa spread to other parts of the country and became our leading cash crop. Indeed, Tete Kwashi, an indigene of Mampong Akuapem, here in the Eastern region, brought back in the late 19th century the cocoa pod from Fernando Po, now Bioko in Equatorial Guinea, an act which led him and others to establish our nation's first commercial cocoa farms here in the Eastern region. It is noteworthy that the hills and mountains of the region and the relatively cooler weather made it attractive to the European colonialists and missionaries whose footprints remain around the region. It is not surprising, therefore, that the region is home to many educational institutions, including the first middle school and first training college in the country, both in Akropong. The old and beautiful stone churches along the scenic mountain road of the Akwapim Hills remain an attraction. It must surely be as a result of Akwapim Tree being the first Ghanaian language to have been written that the culture and mannerisms of the people became adopted in the formal recognition and rendition of Ghanaian culture. When we say it is a part of Ghanaian culture to be respectful in conversations, I dare say the source must be the legendary Akwapim insistence that even an insult must be preceded with a please. They remain the repository of the rules of proper behavior. It is here in the Eastern region that we find the beautiful and intricate beadworks that are defining features of Ghanaian jewelry. The Krobos are the masters of the ancient art and have modernized it to make beads attractive not only to the old, but also to the present generation as well. The Eastern region is also the home of the Kwaus, Ghana's unquestioned leading entrepreneurs, and an example to all of us of what private enterprise can achieve. It is furthermore the home of the Achims, the single biggest ethnic group in the region, who founded one of the most ancient states of Ghana's history, with an unbroken record of chiefly government dating from the 14th century till today. It is home too of the Akwamus, whose renowned military exploits extended to freeing Christiansborg Castle from the control of the Danish. I've mentioned specific groups that make up the Eastern region, but as I stated earlier, it is a region where the whole of Ghana merges into a melting pot and lives in harmony, and different groups feed on the strength of each other for the good of the whole. This is the same scenario that is played on the national scene, where different people have come together to form the Ghanaian nation and a national identity for the past 67 years. Fellow Ghanaians, we have good reason to choose as our theme and to celebrate our democracy, our pride, at this 67th anniversary of our independence. We are a democratic nation, and not every country can make such a claim. It is important to note that the democratic system of government we have today was not given to us at independence. More than 100 years of British rule have not prepared us in any way for democracy. There is nothing democratic about colonial rule, and whatever we have today, we have worked out for ourselves. All the defining elements of a democracy that are part of our governance architecture today, we have had to fabricate ourselves. Everything we know about elections today, and we know quite a bit, we have learned through hard practice, and in the past 31 years, we have been stable. We've not got a perfect system, but every time we've had elections during this Fourth Republic, it has been an improvement on the previous occasion. We have still a lot more to learn, especially when it comes to the tolerance of opposing views. But we also know that we dare not relapse, as there are many examples of countries that have disintegrated into chaos as a result of disputed elections. We know that technology is a useful tool that we must embrace to make the electoral process more transparent. But we are very much aware that technology also now makes it possible and easier for the deliberate manipulation and propagation of falsehood to influence public opinion. When it comes to free speech and a vigorous media as indicators of a working democracy, I believe we can say we are doing well. There's no danger of dissenting voices not being heard on any subject, even though we have still more work to do on elevating the quality of our public discourse. We take our disputes to the courts for adjudication and resolution, and the judicial system operates within agreed and acceptable rules. When we look around our neighborhood, we might be tempted to think that our work is done. But we Ghanaians have never been known to settle for mediocrity. We aim for the best in every field. We should compare ourselves with the best that there is and not settle for anything less. For as long as there is poverty and injustice anywhere in Ghana, our work is not done. On a day like this, we should pay homage, of course, as I have done to our forebears and the elders who fought for independence, and work through the years to establish all that we have to be proud of today. But our attitude should always be that there are better days ahead and work towards that, instead of yearning for some bygone good old days. The greatest challenge remains the provision of good quality education to all of Ghana's children and young people. We have a lot to be proud of, but we have more work to do. I'm happy that through the implementation of the free senior high school policy, we're removing financial barriers to education, unlocking the potential of thousands of young Ghanaians, and laying the foundation for a brighter future for our country. This year, we have seen the highest ever enrollment of first-year students into senior high school in our nation's history. That is the figure of 503,000 students, a clear indication of the widespread embrace of the free senior high school policy. We should be able to offer every Ghanaian child the best education there can be. And having completed high school, our children should be equipped with skills that make them prepared to face the modern world. Our schools must prepare our children to be comfortable with science and technology, engineering and mathematics, and ready to compete in the modern economy. Fellow Ghanaians, there's more to preparing a child to face the world than what can be taught in the classroom. And there's certainly more to molding a Ghanaian child than what our hard-working teachers do every day. Too many parents have relinquished the entire responsibility of bringing up children to what happens in schools. I do not refer only to our music, dance, food, language, and fashion that form the basis of our cultural identity. I refer to the values that set us apart as Ghanaians. If we are to take pride in being Ghanaian, there should be a consensus on the values we hold dear, and we should transmit them to every generation. Fellow Ghanaians, I know that we have gone through difficult economic circumstances, but it is clear that we have overcome the worst, and we are looking forward to better times. I wish to make reference in particular to two projects coming on stream that should make a great difference to the economic fortunes of our country. I refer to the successful selection of strategic partners that will work with the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation, GIADEC, to build a new alumina refinery and develop mines at Nyinahini in Pasaso as 3 or 4 projects being executed under the Integrated Aluminum Industry IAI projects. I witnessed the signing of 2 agreements in Accra recently. Firstly, between GIADEC, a wholly owned public entity, and Rockshore International, a wholly owned Ghanaian private company, selected after a rigorous process as a strategic partner to develop a mine at Nyinahini in Pasaso. And secondly, between GIADEC and Miscellaneous SA, a leading global industrial and energy company, which entails the development of a second mine at Nyinahini in Pasaso and the establishment of an aluminum refinery. We are finally coming to the end of decades of exporting raw bauxite from the country. We shall now refine bauxite mined in Ghana to produce alumina that will feed the Valco smelter and the downstream aluminum industry, which is going to have a dramatic impact on Ghanaian industrialization when we produce parts for motor vehicles, aircrafts, roofing sheets, and household utensils. It has taken a long time for us to get to this stage. We've taken the trouble to make sure that we get it right. As an indigene, it is my hope that once litigation over the Atewa Forest Range in Chebi is settled, we will be able to develop also the Chebi bauxite mine and refinery that will help deliver employment and high-paying jobs for our people, and also ensure integration value addition across the bauxite aluminum value chain. The other major project that is coming on stream, which is bound to make a dramatic change to the economy, is the Adar Songor Salt Project, being spearheaded by Electrochem Salt Mine Limited, led by the dynamic Ghanaian entrepreneur, Mr. Dan McCaughey, aka McDan. After many years of disputes which prevented the exploitation of salt at the site, work has finally started, and salt will be mined on a large commercial scale. With its initial ability to produce some 650,000